Hello, Toy Collector fans. Universal Toy Collector here, and welcome to the channel. And welcome to another episode of My Collecting Life, the series where I get to speak to you, members of the toy collecting community, about your own personal collections, finding out what got you into collecting in the first place and what gives you that toy collecting buzz. Okay, so we have a new year, we have a new episode, and we have a new intro. So who's going to kick us off for 2023? Well, I tell you what, you guys, you know the drill. Sit yourselves down, put your feet up, and let's take a look at some of the collection in a musical montage. Ooh, snugly. Okay, so what an absolutely fantastic collection to start the year off. And it is an absolute delight to welcome Matt and Andy from Keep On Collecting Toys. Hello, gentlemen. How are we?
G'day. G'day, Andrew. Thanks for having us on, Stu. We really appreciate your time.
No, an absolute pleasure. I'm sorry I couldn't get you guys when you were both with each other a few days ago, but obviously with the Christmas period and stuff like that, and me going back to work, it made life a little bit difficult. But once again, really appreciate you guys accepting my invite. It was a while ago that I invited you, so I do apologise for the wait. Oh yeah,
That's good. Like, yeah, I think was it like back in August, September, something like that.
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, oh, okay, August, September. And like, but you're gonna have to wait until episode 21. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, this is actually going to be. This is episode 24. So I mean, yeah. So, but yeah, I like I say, I apologise for that. But we're here now, so
it's all good.
You guys, you know the series. So basically, I've got 10 questions for you. It's all about you. So run time's generally about an hour. So you know, if we run over, it's all good. So shall we crack on with the first question?
Let's crack on.
Yeah. Okay, guys. What are your childhood memories and what toy lines were you into? Who wants to answer that one first?
Well, I'll go. I can go. Well, growing up, because you know, we grew up. I grew up in the 70s, of course. So my first sort of toys were that my parents gave me was Big Jim.
Okay.
And yeah, so yeah, that was great. I had the camper van and the Big Jim doll, and I just love that thing because the camper van, you know, it's a fair size, and you could get all your other action figures because they were in the they were actually virtually like 8-inch size. So,
8-inch. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I just loved it pushing it around because I sort of leant on it on the roof, and you could push it round but my parents used to buy me all the Mego dolls as well. So this is before the Star Wars ones came out. So that was pre 76 or 77 for us, and yeah, it was great. I just played that thing to death, and the one I've actually got now in the box isn't my childhood one. I've only got the front wheels.
Okay.
Yeah.
What the front wheels for?
I don't know. I think the rest of it ended up like most of the time when growing up, your sort of parents didn't keep the toys. It was unfortunately my father. He was more orientated to fixing up cars and all that sort of thing because he was a boilermaker, and he needed the room one day, and he got all my toys out of the cupboard in the garage and threw them all away, and they all went in. Yeah, so there's only a certain amount of things that I've actually kept over my childhood, and unfortunately there's a few bits and pieces of the Big Jim left, but basically I had to buy it all back and a bit more to compensate. Okay. But yeah, it was great playing with that. I really loved it, you know, growing with that.
So Big Jim, was that an Australian toy, or was that in America? Because I've not heard of Big Jim.
I'll just show you. Hang on, hang on a minute. I'll just show you. It's just here. So
we're gonna put him on the main.
It's all right. I do this all. I run off and grab things.
Okay, here we go.
Here's Big Jim. Now, Big Jim. Yeah, so you can see if I pull it back, he's that size. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and he had a camper van, and they were made by Mattel, and anyway, and this is the diver. Yeah.
Okay.
The diver is very special to me because when I got this, my father he actually did welding, so he actually did the welding in this type of bell helmet because he used to do deep sea welding. So. And he's passed now, so it's very special to me. This one, yeah, it's one of my favourite ones in the Big Jim line, except for the camper van. Okay, and yeah, so they did all these sort of things. And in fact, some of the pieces became like they used for other toy lines, didn't they, Matt?
Masters of the Universe mainly, I think. Like the Battle Cat.
So Battle Cat was a tiger from the Big Jim line they repurposed.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
The eagle that became Talon, is it?
Zoa,
sorry.
Or Zoa, I'm not sure how to say it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so yeah, and then once got on from the when unfortunately when Star Wars came out and I saw Star Wars. My parents bought me the figures, and that was it. I went from Big Jim straight to Star was. It was.
Yeah, wow. How about you, Matt?
I think as a kid, I think Star Wars changed it. It's kind of two defining moments for me. One defining moment. There's a pre-Star Wars, and pre-Star Wars was more Matchbox cars, plastic soldiers. There was a lot of outdoor stuff, so not a lot of action figures.
Yeah.
But Star Wars changed it, and like I remember, I've got this one here. This one, my Dinky Space 1999. This is my original one from the 70s. It's lost its barrels. I do have replacements.
Yeah,
they're on the moon.
Yeah, I've told the story on Action Pop Dad where me and my brother were playing with this, and he had the UFO version, and he grabbed mine and he crashed into the sand, and the jets just fell off, just like the TV show. But my dad, he's got it all back together. But yeah, this is my original one. This was my pride and joy from my childhood. And then Star Wars hit, and it was action figures. Like Star Wars at 3 3/4 range, and all the ships. Anything like G.I. Joe, we absolutely adore G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
We had like Buck Rogers, A-Team, anything that came out 3 3/4, we loved. Then also, and we just played all these big games. Like I remember a Christmas game, it was like called the Boxing Day Bash or something, and we just mixed all our toy lines together, and they had this massive battle, and He-Man got in there, so we started getting He-Man about 82, 83. Somewhere in there, in maybe just a couple of years later, was Action Man. A lot of Action Man stuff as well. So obviously quite familiar with that range. We had the Jeep, we had the helicopter, we had an Action Man each. My brother will tell you, my youngest brother, he will tell you that he didn't get an Action Man at first, so he had to use a Barbie doll. So I don't know, he dressed Barbie up in some army clothes, and she was G.I. Jane or something, I think.
G.I. Jane, well, why not?
He actually got his own Action Man, and then he was all good.
It's amazing how Star Wars changed the face of how kids played and stuff like that back in the day, wasn't it? Back in the 70s. I mean, it's hard to imagine a time without Star Wars, because I mean, I was born in 74, so I grew up with Star Wars. But I can't imagine a time before that without Star Wars. It's so weird how it was such a game changer.
Well, but actually, just before Star Wars got it, I did get one Christmas Micronauts.
Okay.
They were quite a lot, and they were to 3 3/4. So I got the vehicle and Micronauts, and then when Star Wars came, and they blended in so well, you could put them in the Micronauts ships, and and things like that, and they sort of, and then with the Mego 3 3/4 line, they all sort of blended in. It was really good.
Yeah, that's what he did.
Wow. I've never heard. I've heard of Micronauts, but I never sort of collected them. So
you haven't seen them?
I've seen them, but I've never sort of like taken a punt and started like collecting them and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, well, actually, they were expensive back then too. I mean, I got a receipt for one that I got when I was young, the space station thing, only a small square type thing, and it was I think it was in the the early 70s, and it was $38, and I think my mother had to pay that off over a year, and because the wages were like $20 a week or something back then. You know, it was really low, the wages. So
what our parents did for us was amazing, really.
Yeah.
Well, back in those days, parents would sacrifice stuff, wouldn't they? They would sacrifice, like my parents, they worked. They both worked. So my mum would do like an evening job, and my dad would work during the day, and we, wouldn't see one of them, and stuff like that. It just doesn't seem to me that we don't want to get too much into it, but like too many sacrifices are made these days. But what do I know? Anyway, so moving on. I've got a rough idea. I might know what the answer is to this next question from the both of you. But what was your favourite toy line as a kid? And we'll go with Matt on this one. Start with Matt.
I would like to say Star Wars. Star Wars and G.I. Joe are definitely up there. But I think the biggest nostalgia buzz is Masters.
Wow.
We had both the castles, a lot of vehicles, a lot of the figures, and that to me, that was when I got really back into doing this. It was He-Man was the first one. So a He-Man and a battle. Well, it was just a He-Man by himself. I thought I overpaid, but I look at the prices now and go, that's a good price.
Was that the original He-Man figures?
Yeah, the original ones.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
from the 80s. They were that's probably the biggest nostalgia buzz that I get. Getting back this of my collection, all these toys. So
Yeah.
definitely probably He-Man. I would say lots of fun games around He-Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you any of the like Origins or Revelations figures, or is it just the one?
Just mainly
Original
the main original vintage stuff.
Yeah.
I've got this thing with Merman. I love Merman.
Yeah.
So throughout every incarnation, I guess, of Merman, I will buy and He-Man and Skeletor. And so that's something I want to do in the future, just like show on a short video the incarnations of Merman and He-Man and Skeletor. So I've pretty much got every incarnation of those three characters throughout the years. And but yeah, I think it's Masters.
Do you know, it is nice to hear something different. You know, I mean, there's a lot of people that I speak to predominantly it's Star Wars. I mean, there's been one or two that have had something different, so it is good. It changes it up a bit and stuff like that. So awesome. How about you, Andrew?
Well, unfortunately, I'm run of the mill. I'm Star Wars. So as I was saying, other than the well, to say that Mego was the big. The different properties in Mego, which came out at the same time, like Buck Rogers and things like that, were quite prominent in my childhood because they were quite cheap. And even like Walt Disney's The Black Hole figures, they're by Mego.
Yeah, I know those.
Well, they came out here, and I had most of them, which I got back again. I'm only missing one now, which is really expensive. Yeah, Battlestar Galactica and things like that. Those figures.
Oh my god, Battlestar Galactica, jeez, yeah.
Now
wow.
I've just finished that last year. Bore was a character that I needed, and I finished him off, and I've got the whole line there now.
Yeah,
and but unfortunately, yes, once Star Wars came out, it bit me like a bug, and that was it. So because it was so easy for the parents to buy. It was in it like Coles and things like that, supermarkets, and they used to have all of it, you know, just like a toy store. They used to go through down the aisle, and you'd run down there and pick one off, and they're only like $1.50 or whatever, or $2 or whatever they were back then. I think they were about $1.50, I think, actually. And so it was cheap for parents to buy and collect.
Yeah. So you mentioned Battlestar Galactica. How many figures were in that range, in that line? Because I mean, I remember seeing like the Commander Adama, and I think it was Apollo and stuff like that. Then you had the guy with the green head and the forearms, then the Imperious Commander and stuff like that.
Well, I just got the book here actually.
He's gone again.
I'm the editor, and it's a lot of fun trying to edit Andrew.
It's just that I've got the book here.
Okay.
And it's at the back. So there's the actual line.
Yeah, there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10.
There's 10 with the variants, I think, and eight standard.
Yeah.
So
no, that's not Apollo, is it? Is that Starbuck?
Starbuck.
Yeah. They didn't do an Apollo. If you want an Apollo, you get another one in your cage. You do his hair black.
Unbelievable! Wow, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but those lines were great. I mean, there's the black hole ones. The black hole. Yeah, and I
remember Maximilian.
And it was this fellow here called Old Bob. He's the one I haven't. He's the one I'm missing still. But for loose, he goes for about $3,000 US.
Wow.
You know, so it's just virtually impossible. Yeah, at the moment, and unless I hope I still come across him, because these were sold big in Australia and in Italy or something like that.
Wow.
You know, so
in a doctor's surgery play toy box or something, Andrew. Oh, Bob.
Yeah. should I tell the story of that?
Yeah.
It's pretty well, years ago, when my daughter was little, so probably about 15 years ago, we're at the pediatrician's surgery, and he was late, and he came in with this box of toys, and he put it down in the play area. And my daughter went up and grabbed one off there, and she's just about to chew its head off. and he just got this all from his parents' place, and it was a mint yak face.
Oh, wow!
And I went, nope.
You're not doing that.
So I saved it from
Wow.
the tyranny from death. But that's incredible because I wanted to take the whole box because he had like G1 Transformers with all the stuff on them, and when we went back, there was only like one little car left or something like that. They'd all been taken.
Oh no!
Everyone had done the same thing.
Yeah, but I must admit, I did take the yak face. I couldn't pass it up. I didn't want it to get destroyed.
Did you have the weapon as well?
It could have been down the bottom of the box, but
okay, you didn't. Look.
Yeah, but
wow, it's not phenomenal.
But
Wow.
it's pretty good. I mean, they to find one in the wild like that is just crazy.
Well, yeah, it's awesome. Wow. So when did you guys become aware that you were collectors? I mean, did you go through a stage where you got to a certain age and then you didn't collect anymore, and then you got back into it, or did you just carry on collecting all the way through, like because you had a thing for toys?
Yeah, man.
That's a difficult one. Look, I think as children, you don't really collect, do we? I don't know. We just play. It's a really good question. I don't think.
Well, you get to a certain point. You get to a certain point, don't you, where you play, and then you get to a point after that where you start to collect.
Even through, it's funny, through the 90s, like in my 20s, even then I was going into, say, Toys R Us, and I can remember buying the Hercules, the Legendary Journeys figures from Toy Biz.
Okay.
Toy Biz, Marvel figures, couple of, the Trendmasters, Godzilla. So I was still actively, I didn't know what it was. There was no label for what I was doing. It was, gee, if I was a kid, I would love these toys and I'm going to get them. And I would open them pretending that I was still a kid and I could still play with them. But as a 20-year-old, you're not really sitting there anymore with your brothers creating games. But I guess as a true getting back into it and then meeting Andrew in about 2000, that's when I think I could put a label on it and say, now I'm getting things back. And for a specific reason, I can label it now and go, this is now, I guess, collecting, giving them this nostalgic buzz again. And, oh, my God, I remember this. Oh, my God, I remember that. And I sat here with my brothers and played with this and that. So probably 20 years ago, I guess I could probably put that label on it to answer a long round story. But, yeah, that would be it, I'd say.
Yeah, wow.
Never really stopped.
You never really stopped?
I've never really stopped, even when that's what I'm trying to say. Like, as a kid, you don't know that you're doing it. And you get forced to get mum and dads get rid of our toys. It's not us. I don't think.
Yeah.
So I would still have those if they didn't get rid of them. And I just continued through the 90s, but I didn't know what to call it. And so now I know what to call it. It's called collecting.
Collecting, yeah, fair enough.
But 20 years ago, I knew that I was doing it.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that's all right. It's like you have a period in your life, ran the teenage years, in the older teenage years where you stop because you're dating and chasing other things around, and then it was about for me it was around about 95. I got back into it and started. Because you get a job, and so you've got the monetary means to buy things that you didn't have, and sort of like we used to go in a typical Thursday night, late night trading in Australia. You'd go off and have tea and we used to pass this store that was mainly die-cast cars, but they had a lot of action figures, and then.
Okay.
I spied a Dapol TARDIS, and I go, oh, that looks good, I bought that, and then go, I'll get the figures for that, and then that was Matt got one behind him there, the little Dapol one, which is the British brand. So that was the first sort of in the Doctor Who range, the sort of like the first sort of action figure toys lines they did.
Wow.
And so that's yeah.
Cool.
And that was it. But collecting was even sort of then. It was I had it in my bedroom, and I started to have a cabinet, and and it was something sort of thing you never really told anyone. It was a bit of a secret type thing. And and like as Matt has stated, when I moved, got married and moved, and I went up the local video store, and Matt was working there, and I met with Matt, and we just started talking about a series called Space 1999, and I said, "Oh yeah, I like that, and I've got this big ship. It's about 2 foot." And he goes, "Oh, I didn't know they made that," and that was it. It was
bloody hell.
Yeah, we sort of
influence, dude, on my life.
Yeah,
in a good way.
We sort of formed our own collectors club, because Matt actually found out he only lived about a couple of minutes away, and then every Sunday night we sort of like we go around and have something to eat and drink and talk toys and show things that we got from eBay and that was it. And then when we started going to I was going to collectors fairs, and then I started to get Matt to come to the collectors fairs. Yeah. And then we just didn't. Well, for me, you know, I just didn't stop.
Yeah.
Hence the name. There's the big eagle.
Wow.
The big eagle.
Yeah. Hence the name. Keep on collecting. We just don't stop. So, is it collecting or is it hoarding? That's the question we've got to ask ourselves sometimes.
Well, listen, I would say collecting. I mean it. Yeah, I mean I wouldn't call it hoarding because. Well, I don't know. Some of the stuff I've got at the moment is practically hoarded, but
I know. Typical hoarding is, you know, a typical hoarder is something that they bring back anything to the place, garbage, whatever, and that's a true hoarder. But we're hoarding one genre, but
yeah. I mean, I'm collecting, hoping that one day we will get a bigger place so I can display said collection. But at the moment. I can't, so I have to be, you know.
Well, I'll tell you now, Stu. I'll tell you what happens if you get a bigger place. It's like we're like toy collecting hermit crabs. All we do is we outgrow our place, we get a bigger place, and then we outgrow that. Because as a collector, I went from a reasonable size freestanding outside garage that I had.
Yeah.
And I outgrew that, and I had to buy a bigger place that's got a 3-car garage that's internal to the house. So it's actually in the underneath the house there, and now that's full. So you know, and because the photos I sent you, that was after a day of clearing out the toy room of boxes and other stuff I couldn't show.
Wow.
And I had to fill a spare room I got in the front, just so I could take photos and send them out, so you can send them on to you.
Well,
it took me like another day to put it back.
Just because what you've said here alone, I'm going to make sure that my wife does not see this episode. After hearing what I've just heard there,
well,
she's going to be like,
I was going to say, look, Mrs. Universal Toy Collector, don't let Stu move.
It's just the psyche of it. Apparently, I looked up why do we collect. Now, apparently, it goes back. Even Sigmund Freud did a thing on it. And he says it stems from a loss in your childhood. Now, not as a loss of a child or anything like that, but we've lost our toys, and we've become as an adult. You got monetary means to buy them back, but you fill that hole. So you say, I had a light in a big gym. I've got what I've got as a kid, but you want that feeling again. So you just keep going. You're trying to fill a hole that just never can be filled. So what happens is, even if you end up with a Westfield size place, and you just keep on going, and keep on collecting. Yeah, but what I mean is, it's uncontrollable. It's uncontrollable. Wow. You know, sometimes I get bored of it, as in you go, I don't want to go in there today, or I don't want to do that. And then you see something that gives you that spark again, and then you're off. You know, it might be, there's a new toy come out.
By the sounds of it, I think we should start up our own support club.
Yeah, well,
hi, I'm Stu, and I'm addicted to collecting. Yeah.
Talk to me about it. You tell me what happened in your childhood.
Hey, if I could get that this up my arm, I think I would. You know, just
yeah. Wowzers. Oh God, blimey. So, moving on to the next question: do you guys have a prized piece in your collection? Something that, if you had to take with you, you'd take it, and one item.
Oh, okay.
It's confusing, right?
Well, I always say that I've asked this question before, and I say that, like Matt said, what would you take if your place was on fire? And I said, well, unfortunately, I'd be standing there with my hair on fire and trying to still figure it out. And I suppose if it push came to shove and I had down to one item, it'd have to be the Yoda hand puppet from 1980.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Because it's one of my things that I still do have that's travelled with me, you know, through the ages. So that's sort of special to me. Yeah. The Mattel Eagle would be another one. So and because I've had that, and we absolutely adore that TV series. We watch it all the time, over and over again. And but it as again, when you get a collection that's you know, people collect, it does become hard to single out one piece. Because you know, a true collector loves every little piece in their collection.
Well, that's why I asked the question, Andrew, because I know it's a tough one.
It is a tough one. So I'd have to say, if push came to shove and only was allowed one, I'm afraid I'd grab that Yoda hand puppet because that's sentimental to me. Yeah.
Awesome. Matt?
No, I was going to joke that you'd probably just find my dead body in here, but
yeah, well, that's right. Hair on fire.
I've always said it's going to be the Mattel Eagle.
Okay.
But I think it's that would be pretty hard to get out of there pretty quickly. If I had a bit of time, I'd grab it. If I had no time, I'd probably just grab the old dinky one and go, come with me. You've been with me for 40 years. Come now.
Wow. Yeah, well, that's right.
Incredible. Do you know, I've got to say, when I speak to like collectors and stuff like that and other guests, I truly find it amazing that you all have items that you had as a kid. I don't have any of my original toys as a kid, and I think that I look back at that and it doesn't make me sad. It's like I have a tinge of like regret that I never kept anything by, and do you know what I mean? That's one thing I wish I'd done, was kept something.
You don't have anything from your childhood, Stu?
No, nothing. Everything I have here now is what I've brought within the last 10, 11 years.
But the stuff you bought though has replaced what you had as a kid as memory.
Well, the Star Wars stuff is everything else. I was only into Star Wars. I mean, it is an expansion. It's it's my therapy for not you know.
So you've gotten back the stuff that you've lost.
Yeah. I've got stuff. And then some with some of the original stuff, because like,
well, that's right.
I didn't have, but
there's where it stems from loss, and then you just keep going. Yeah.
But that's the thing. If I had one item that I had as a kid when I was younger, I would be I think I would be at peace with myself. But
what's yours, Stu? What would you run? Can I ask that?
No. I asked the questions, Matt. This is what's my piece that I take with me?
Yeah, what would that be? See, it's not easy, is it, Stu?
I've actually had this question asked before, and I would say it would be my sail barge.
Ooh.
Yeah, anyway, I'm going now. He's got a sail barge.
Yeah. So, and the reason for that is because I will be able to sell that off and get some decent money for it, and then to get other toys, and then I can start again. So, but yeah, no. At the moment, it'd have to be the sail barge.
You're a smart man.
Listen,
I saw one of the last toy show we went to. There was a sail barge there, and I could have bought it, but it would have wiped out my own little personal savings. And I went, oh.
Yeah. I mean, because the sickening thing is, the sail barge at the time wasn't released. It was only released in the US, wasn't it? It wasn't offered anywhere else in the world via HasLab. So I looked on eBay, and there was one in America, and it was a lot of money then. And then with shipping fees on top of that and import tax as well, Yeah. Anyway,
Mortgage the house
it's a lovely piece. Well, yeah, but
Fucking
you know,
mortgage.
yeah. So that's your prized possession. Do you guys have a grail piece, something that you would really want in your collection that you don't yet have, and you think, I don't mind spending a tidy penny on that?
Oh, me go first. It's got to be Eternia.
Okay.
I've got a lot of masters. Most of it's almost complete. But Eternia has evaded me, and probably will for a few more years. But that's okay. Like, I've seen one. I know that I can probably get one. I've got a contact lined up if I ever get that money together. You know. But yeah, Eternia, the original one, not the new release.
So you've not crowdfunded that? You've not backed that one then? You didn't back that?
No.
Okay.
To get it out, it was it was only for a limited time. We were all heading to Melbourne. There was Andrew, Scott Crusher, and I. We were heading to Melbourne for a big toy trip. We've been saving all year, and it happened bang right at that period. And I went, you can do it. And to get it out here, we worked out to be like maybe about 1,400 Australian dollars. And I went,
wow, jeez.
And it's not the original. So I didn't.
Yeah.
One.
You didn't. Okay.
The original.
Andrew?
Well, I had last weekend. I had a Grail piece in my hand, didn't I, Matt? And that was the USS Flag. And anyway, the story is with that the fellow that we know, he's got his own collector's shop. Yeah, and he goes to the toy fairs. He borrowed money off a friend to buy a big G.I. Joe collection, about $30,000 worth of. Basically, it was everything. And so he's been selling that off, and he said he had a flag, and I said, "Oh, can I have a go and buy it?" It wasn't 100% complete, but it was good enough to display.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid the deal he had with his friend was he borrowed half the money from him, and as payment, he wanted the flag as interest payment.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I had this thing in my hand.
No.
Gutted.
But it's surprising. The thing is huge. It's 7 feet long by nearly 4 feet wide, and you don't know until you actually have this massive board in your hand.
Part of the deck in your hand. You
part in the deck how big it is, and I'd have to actually take away some of the shelving here and put it. Yeah. But I would do want it as a sort of a centerpiece. I would actually change the room around to compensate it. So.
Wow.
But I've never seen one personally in person, and I've
to that point,
So, one day I might come across one that's for
one day.
2022 was a little bit like that, wasn't it, for us, Andrew? Like, both of us have our Grail pieces. However, neither of us had actually ever seen it in the flesh. Went to Melbourne. I see an Eternia on the shelf, and you've seen Flag. Well, actually, it's 2023, but whatever, technicality.
So, because I said to myself, I want one or one, either the Flag or the sail barge, and I mean, there is I know a bloke who has got a sail barge for that, so maybe this year I'll save and get that one. If he hasn't.
I'll say this about it, Andrew. It's a beautiful piece.
Yeah,
it is a fantastic piece. The detailing and the work that's gone into it, I think. Yeah. I mean, some people don't agree with the crowdfunding and what have you, but to me that makes sense, because then if people want to buy it, they will buy it. If they don't want to buy it, then they don't have to. But as long as they get so many people and then they're not wasting all this money and like mass producing it and then losing money out because they're going to have to sell it on at a cut price in sales later on. But
they made the molds. I don't understand why they wouldn't mass produce it, because they've got the molds already done for it.
But they have. But would retailers want to stock it in the shops because
it's so
shelf
big.
Space is a premium? It is big. I mean, I've still got the box. I threw the bloody shipping box away. I should have kept that. Really, I didn't think about that.
Well, they could sell it online. I mean, they could have their own store, sell it online, and ship them around the world. And I mean, it's just. At the time, I remember when it came out, and because we missed it here in Australia. One of the the collector's toy shops. That's a retailer one here. I was talking to the boss of that, and he said he tried to do a deal to get the HasLab, and he couldn't. But he got the Razor Crest, so we got a Razor Crest.
Okay.
And
That's pretty decent.
yeah, that's a fair size thing, and it's not as big as the sail barge, but it was still good to grab that.
These massive multi-million, billion-dollar companies or whatever they've got, but for Eternia, why have it for a 2 or 3 week period? Why not allow people? You know, you got that time of the year when there might have been, Christmas was approaching. I think in America it was Thanksgiving and Halloween, and why not just allow it to go 6 months? Or you're going to make that mold. They know it's going to get backed, and even if it gets backed after 6 months, just allow it to go to retail. Allow anyone to buy it. I don't understand the mentality of only a certain amount of people are allowed to buy these items.
Well, yeah. I agree with that. I mean, I looked at Eternia, and I was surprised at the price. I mean, it wasn't cheap, was it? It was quite expensive. Was that $800 or something like that?
I can't.
Fairly expensive.
Here's
a question for you. I'll throw in a free question for you. Do you think that they will ever do a HasLab USS flag?
They were going to in 2011. Back in 2011.
Okay.
They were going to redo. Now it was before they did HasLab. They were going to re-release the flag, and then they just never eventuated. I don't know what the reasoning was. Maybe it was the cost. But there was a lot of hype around at the time to have it, and it's just a shame but they don't do any play sets or anything anymore. It's just even with Star Wars, they do it like an X-wing, and they want like $200 Australian for it. Yeah, I mean, Boba Fett Slave One from the series, the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah,
it's come through the collector's shop here in Australia, which is called Zing.
Okay,
and they're owned by EB Games and the game shop. Big. I think it's like GameStop from America. So it's that type of store, and all pop culture stuff. 450 Australian for that for that Slave One from the Book of Boba Fett. 450. Now they sell an ordinary Slave One. It's the same size without the figure, and it's only 200. So basically, you're paying $200 more
for the figure.
For the figure and the box saying Book of Boba Fett on it, and it's just crazy.
See, when the Slave One got re-released, my wife got that for me for a Christmas present, I think, one year, and I like it. I think it's perfectly good enough on display as it is. So I really don't need another one. So I've not gone for that one, even though you're going to get the figure, because you're guaranteed it in a few months' time, or maybe towards the end of the year, you're going to get that Boba Fett figure on its own card back anyway. But I'm also not going to get it because it's got Boba Fett Starship on there. It's Slave One. It's always been Slave One. And so I just thought, well, I've got a perfectly good one. I don't need to get any more. I tell you what I would do though, if they did a repaint of it and did it as the Jango Fett one, you bet your bottom dollar I'd get that. And I'm surprised that wasn't done last year with the 20th anniversary.
They did a Jango Fett one, so I got a Jango Fett one.
Yeah, but that
came with figures and a Starfighter and a whole lot.
Yeah,
it's a huge box. I got it up there, and I got from that from the US, for half the price when you get a new one here in Australia.
But that was a Toys R Us exclusive, wasn't it? That one?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's that scale. It's that size, the larger scale Slave One that they did, and so they've used that mold to make the new one. So
what I can't understand was last year was the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones. Why did they not re-release that as part of the vintage collection and give it a repaint instead of doing it the one from the Book of Boba Fett? Because we've not long had I think it was 2018 that we had a Slave One from, in those colours.
Yeah, well, they've just re-released it again, that one. So
they have,
yeah. So without I think the other one had a figure with it, but But
No,
anyway, yeah, I just don't understand their. Is it? I don't know if it's manufacturing because they still have all their stuff manufactured in China.
Wow.
Unlike because we collect the Mattel dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So Matt and myself, and they're easy to get because I showed Matt the other day. I said, "Look where they're made now," and that's Vietnam. So
wow.
yeah, so they're just the shelves are full of them, aren't they, Matt?
Yeah, easy to get hold of. Anything from China, we're just not getting anything in Australia.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just the yeah.
Okay, so let's move on with the next question.
Yeah.
If you could only collect one toy line, what would it be and why? So you had the options to get all the toy lines, but you were only allowed to get one toy line.
Yeah, that's a hardie. Andrew, I'm going to throw this over to you.
Well, looking back now, if it was a toy line, if I had a choice of now, I'd actually go for G.I. Joe. I think over Star Wars.
Yeah.
Only because Star Wars, they sort of regurgitating. They're regurgitating that there's no new ships. The Razor Crest was the last new ship they sort of put out.
Yeah.
There's nothing sort of new. There's no new films to follow it. The TV series are a success to drive the fandom. But G.I. Joe there's so much to it, and with all the little bits and pieces you can get, and all the play sets and the vehicles, it's just the variety is there.
Yeah.
Over Star Wars, and so I at the moment, now, I would say and someone said, "Do you want Star Wars or G.I. Joe?" I think I'd take G.I. Joe.
Wow.
And I think it has better variety of play value, really.
Yeah.
Are you, Stuart? Do you mean if I had like a zero collection, which line would I now start with if I was at empty?
No. You're still collecting bits and bobs because you've got a varied collection. You're still collecting bits and bobs for that and what have you. And then your wife will come in one day and she goes, "Right, you, Matt, enough of this. You can only collect one line." And you go,
"Oh, I'm out of here. See you later. Go. Yeah. I'm gone."
Yeah, lost time.
If you only had the money to get one toy line and carry on.
No, good. Okay, well, that's I've thought about that. That's pretty good. I'd go Masters. That's why you
go first, Andrew, so he could think about his answer.
And it's Masters. Master the Universe. I haven't completed that, and you know what? Like I was just thinking just then, I don't want to complete it. I want to hunt that stuff forever, and if I somehow do complete it in the next few years, I can understand why people like Pixel Dan and Justice Curie and Not Another Retro Channel and those guys start heading off into the knockoffs, the different versions that were made in different countries. I can understand just you don't want to stop collecting a line that you absolutely just love. Like I love Masters. I love getting in and having a look at those old figures. Watching people. I'm not getting emotional. It's just my voice starting to break.
Have some more of
that. No, like I've lost my train of thought. But definitely Masters for me. I adore that line. Maybe I would focus more on the Origins line then if I did complete that line.
Okay, yeah.
If only was allowed to collect one. At this stage, I'm happy just to go with Masters, the original vintage.
Fair enough.
Lucky we're not confronted with that dilemma.
Yeah.
Thank God we have understanding wives.
The thing is, it's really weird because when it was only a couple of years ago when COVID kicked in and stuff like that, and we would all sit around not doing anything, and I jumped on YouTube and I was watching all these channels and stuff like that, and I started watching a guy called The Foosh, and because I was looking for Star Wars figure reviews and stuff like that. And he was doing them, but I didn't realize there was half the stuff out there that there was. I'd never heard of the Black Series line. I didn't realize that they were doing, DC multiverse figures and McFarlane toys and all that sort of stuff. And it just opened my eyes, and I was like, yeah, I'm liking this. And it was just, So it really is difficult when that question's asked. You can only collect one. I mean, I'm just getting into doing the DC multiverse with the Batman figures and the Jokers. I mean, I love the Joker and Harley Quinn and their collections. Then you've got like Mezco 112. You've got SH Figure Arts. That now you've got Hot Toys as well, and
Toys, yeah.
And it's just incredible, and there's a lot to collect. It's a big old pool that we're dipping our toes into and stuff like that.
Down the rabbit hole there, Stu.
Yeah, well, well, my wife, she likes the Hot Toys stuff, so we've got a few
Hot Toys. Oh gosh, they're really expensive. There's no way to even consider buying those.
Yeah. Well, they take up a lot of space as well, so they take up a lot of fine shelf space as well. So, but right, let's move on. What got you guys into doing a YouTube channel, and who were your influences? So why did you start doing a YouTube channel?
Can we tell a story? It is about Andrew, really.
All right, you'll have to tell it then.
Probably about 5 years ago, Andrew goes, let's start a YouTube channel and let's put some stuff on YouTube. And, he came up with the name, and we did an episode, and it's on YouTube. It's a really bad first episode 5 years ago, us sitting in front of his uncompleted TARDIS, and we're just fluffing around. It's really bad to watch. And then it took another year before we did another video, and Andrew he pulled out his camera and goes, "And welcome to another episode of Keep On Collecting." And I'm like, I'm in my pajamas, man. Like, what am I doing here? Just look at the Doctor Who figures and go through the Doctor Who figures. Oh, okay. This is Doctor 1, 2, 3. So it and then of course, COVID hit, and we went from there. So that's 2.5 years. But I don't know. Were you influenced, Andrew? Like, did you come up with the idea because of other channels, or
No, well, it was because just before then, I was in a documentary on diabetes that our ABC station did.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And anyway, they came to the house to do sort of filming at your house sort of thing, and why your lifestyle and why because your lifestyle might cause diabetes. So I haven't got diabetes, and they just wanted me in the channel because they came to my town and they were doing blood testing and they were filming at the time. And they said, would you like to be on and just get your blood tested? Yeah, and I was cracking jokes and all of that. And then they rang me up and said, would you like to be in the series? Because you seem a little bit funny. And yeah, no worries. And the producer came out. She came out one night and I said, are you doing any documentaries on compulsive disorders? And she goes, what? And I go, well, have a look at this. And I brought her in, and the toy room was only sort of like, it was a bit messy because we only just sort of moved, but she goes, oh my God. And she ran out to the car and got a camera and started filming. And
wow.
And she wanted it in the TV series, in the series as they had to do a backstory on you. But the host of the show, I had a bit of a falling out with, and she cut it out. And she was a nutritionist, and because I do anatomy with the university, so we sort of had butted heads a little bit. And anyway, I said to the director, to producer, sorry, well, how about we do a collector's show? Where we go around and because again, we know all these unique collectors sort of thing, and it doesn't have to be toys. It can be other things. There's we come across all people who collect all these sort of different things. And she goes, oh, back in the day we would, but they don't sort of do it like that now. And I said, I've got a great title for it. We'll call it Keep On Collecting, And she said, that sounds great, and that's where I got the title from. I sort of just came up with it on the spot.
Johnny on the spot, wasn't it, Andrew?
Johnny on the spot. And and I sort of go, oh, well, if I can't sort of, convince them to do something like that, we'll just do a YouTube channel called Keep On Collecting.
There you go. I got raked into that one.
Yeah, but first I had to look up to see if someone else has got the name. And now with YouTube, so unfortunately, you can't copyright your channel's name. So if I want to all of a sudden tomorrow call myself Stu's Universal Toy Collector, right, you can't stop them. And it's really bad. So sometimes you might look up a title, and there might be all these different people with the same name.
Well, I made the mistake. I went with Universal Toy Collector, without looking, and I didn't realize that there was a Universal Collector map,
map.
and I was like,
Yeah,
oh
maps.
no. Well, when I've obviously got everything set up and I've gone on the Universal Collector, and I was like, oh. And I know he's changed his name, and he's changed it because he's predominantly collecting Star Wars
That
now.
was other reasons, yeah.
But but I just felt so bad.
Because with
like,
outside, there's
God.
only one guy. He's called the KeepOnCollecting box,
Okay.
and he makes up these like
Is it Harry
boxes.
Potter boxes?
Yeah, Harry Potter boxes they send out, like those, they send them out once a month or whatever.
Yeah.
And so obviously, we don't do anything like that. So it sort of didn't impinge on him, and but it was I thought it was a good name because it suited us to a T, didn't it, Matt? We just keep on collecting. Yeah. Just the acronym of it we don't like.
It's too, Stu, like at the same time, our channel, like unbeknownst to us, because we didn't realize there's other YouTubers doing this, like exactly like toys. But years later, we've come in contact with Luke from Reynolds Reviews, right?
Yeah.
And we didn't realize you watch all of a sudden his video, and he goes at the end, and remember, keep collecting, and we're like, oh, did he get that from us, or did we get that from? What's going on there? Like, it's different.
But the thing, it's difficult, isn't it, with YouTube, because you've got people that do your reviews and stuff like that, and everybody's doing certain things and stuff like that, and I found it, I have to say, difficult because I don't do reviews. I just go on and say, yeah, this is what I've got, and here you go, and all that sort of stuff, and do this. But there's
nothing original on YouTube, Stu.
No, I know, but that's okay. I mean, we're original. We're original as who we are. You guys are original because you are you, and you don't want to pretend to be anybody else. Do you know what I mean? I don't come on and put like a show on sort of thing. I don't pretend to be someone else. I come on, I'm me. And sometimes, I mean, I was doing some blogging, and I hated doing that around the parks in Disneyland, Disney World, last October.
Oh,
and my missus, she turned around and said to me, "Oh, you sound so enthusiastic when you're doing that." And I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Well," and you could hear it on the camera. And I said, "Well, this is my voice." She knew that when she married me. You got to deal with it, sort of thing. And it's not that I'm not enthusiastic. I don't know. I just have a certain voice that sometimes it might not sound like I'm excited and stuff like that. But
when you film, you instantly have a different persona. And and I notice even when I do a video. And I noticed when I did that series, because they put on ads, for it, and I go, and my mother ringing up and going, "Did you say?" And I go, "I couldn't remember." And then I couldn't remember what I actually said at the time. It's like there was a different Andrew was put in. And you become like an actor, and that's like what they call the TV series they have. Pardon?
Are you acting now?
Yeah, that's right. Hang on, I just line. Anyway, but what I mean is, you might look back at your videos and go, I don't even remember even saying that. And now you figure when you meet someone who's done movies, like we interviewed Jennifer Runyon from Ghostbusters, and we're saying lines, and she's going, "Well, gee, I can't remember that. I can't remember saying that." I think that's because they act, and it's not them, and they don't you don't keep the memory of what actually you said.
I found, I don't know about you guys, but I've only not been doing it as long as you guys, but I feel more relaxed in front of the camera now. I feel more relaxed when I'm doing the video. The more you do it, the more relaxed you get, and I think that's the big difference. I think when I first did my first video, I was reading off a script, and it sounded bloody awful. My first one and stuff like that, and I was like, oh God, I sound terrible. But then I just, you just relax into it. And I never now go by script. I mean, I've got questions in front of me, but that's just for this. But I've never done a script on my channel.
Tried to make notes. I think we tried to make notes, Stu, but
it goes out the window.
After 30 seconds. I think when I did 5 videos in 5 days, by the 5th day, it became my friend, the camera. I could just be completely who I am, and it was just very natural after 5 days doing it in a row. And so I can imagine people who do a video every day, it's just a one-on-one relationship. almost then.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think I could do a one-on-one video every day. I mean, Christ, imagine that.
Oh no, it was
it's
short,
hard work doing like 3 videos a week and this, but
especially editing and
yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I watch you guys on YouTube and stuff like that, and before I started doing it, and I was like, wow, this looks fantastic, and that and this and the other. But you don't realize, people who don't do it, they don't realize the planning that goes into it, the effort, the time, the editing, the sitting there for ages, and you know, it is a lot of hard work. And
yeah, well, Matt does all the editing.
He does all the hard work.
He does the hard work. Yeah. So, I'm gonna come up with some ideas. I come up with ideas what we can do and things like that to do videos. But Matt does all that hard editing and it's just recently was sort of Matt was over the editing, and I don't blame him because we had a big year. And I said, look, you know, have a break from it. Don't worry. I said, I'll just put a few videos out where I just do it, you know, all you do is see my hands.
No editing, no intro, outro.
No editing, you know, and just a thumbnail picture of it. And it got big hits. And I said to Matt was feeling a bit down because of it. And I said, you can't judge your audience, you know. From our point of view is, I mean, I appreciate the hell of what Matt does. He does these parodies and things like that in his intros, and we get it. But sometimes you look at the audience, like I work with younger people, and they said, oh, we just want to see the video because they don't understand the intro and things like that. So you can't judge your audience. So unless you're just doing it, if you're doing it to get subscriptions and things like that, and you get sucked down into that path, you will get depressed. And sure, you end up doing those videos that all it is either clickbait or you're trying to get subs. But Matt puts the passion into it. You can tell when he puts that intro, he puts the passion into it.
My brain.
Yeah, and what it does, we get it, and other people are our age sort of get it. Like you'll do an intro that's like Home Alone or like Ghostbusters,
the Naked Gun one, or
Naked Police, you know, something like that.
99. Yeah, it's just
and it gets that audience that it's in our age group because we grew up with those films.
Yeah.
We understand. We've got a good memory of all the TV shows and what they said and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But with the other people and other generations, they just go, oh, we want to swipe.
Second one.
Yeah, exactly. So what do? I said to Matt, just do it how we want to do it. Don't get sucked down the rabbit hole going, oh, I didn't get 10 subs this week.
No. Look, I mean, do you guys know a Chris Meanwhile from Chasing 80s Toys?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, he said to me, and he said to loads of people as well, you do the videos for the guys that want to watch your videos, you know, for your people that want to watch you know.
Yep.
And I'm happy with that. I mean,
you know, Stu, I think I've only just figured that out. 2.5 years later, I think that break over Christmas, I think I've finally figured it out. So it does work on you a little bit, and it eats at you a little bit. But I think I've just realised we have a core audience, like a man of watchers who just want what we present and what we have to offer. And you know what? I think I'm all right with that now. It's taken 2.5 years. If I get 10 views for a video, you know what? I had fun making that video. The 10 people that have watched it are our core audience who've enjoyed that video, and I've got to be happy with that. And it's taken.
No, you've got to be, because you're not. The thing is, you're not gonna please everybody on YouTube. You're just not. I mean, there's too many people out there on YouTube that watch and stuff like that. And listen, it was weird because over the Christmas period, I was like getting quite high numbers, and I was like, oh yeah, this is all right. And then after Christmas, it sort of like dropped down. And I was like, man, people are back at work. They probably don't have time to watch. And, you know, and I'm fine with that. I'm doing this because I enjoy doing it. And I like showing what I've got. I like showing my collection. I like the community. Do you know what I mean? I like chatting with people like yourselves and stuff like that. And that's why I'm doing it.
That's these live stream sort of things only just sort of come about from COVID, haven't they? And before then, it was just doing videos and putting them on there. And you're going, oh, no one's watching it. Look at that. But really now with these live streams, you get on and talk to all these different people and make all these friends. The actual doing the videos have become second place, haven't they, Matt? Sort of really, you know, because we enjoy more just getting on to talking to people like yourself and meeting new friends and all that sort of thing. And you haven't got that pressure. Like, I mean, you can run off and show a toy and whatever, and you haven't got that pressure of having to come up with a video each week.
That's it. Yeah.
You know, you can just, it's this time, sit in front of here and go, oh, look, you know, I've got a big gym and you know, it's really good. It's really easy. There's no pressure to it. And then you look back and you go, oh, we'll have to do a video. And, you know, I think I enjoy sitting here having a conversation and the live streams more than I do doing a video. Definitely. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it when Matt Whitten and myself, we get together and we do a video, sit and do a video together, and you can tell the difference when we do that. Yeah. And you know, we just did one recently we put out for our first one for the year.
Well, it's our first video we've done together for a couple of months now, and bloody hell, I had to edit out so much laughing.
We just giggled
not so often, but that's part of
it. That's the reason.
A renewed passion for making videos this year at the moment. I'm sure there'll be a period of where I just need to slow down a little bit because I've just
yeah, but we all get to that point. It's like over the Christmas period, it was nice not to have to worry about getting someone on and chatting to them and editing the series and stuff like that in an episode. So I enjoyed the break, and I think everybody needs a break from time to time just to recharge the batteries, because the thing is with me, it's an enjoyment, and if it gets to a point where it's getting too much and I'm not enjoying it, then I'll just either stop altogether, or just like I'm not saying that I'm not enjoying it when I have a break. It's just nice to have a break, but it was over the Christmas period and stuff like that. But it's all good. It's all good. Right. Okay. So we've just passed the hour, which is perfectly fine. A couple more questions for you.
Bit of editing for you.
What gives you that toy collecting buzz?
Toy shows. What do you mean? Like what? In my collection, or are you talking
just in general? What gives you that toy collecting buzz? It could be, like you say, toy shows. It could be buying a new toy. It could be looking at a toy in a shop, or
it is. I think at the moment,
it's smelling the plastic gives you the buzz.
It's at the moment. I think it's collecticons. I'm loving the collecticons because they got the vintage. Over in Australia, it's a bit hard at the moment. Toy hunts are a little bit of a thing of the past. Physical, going to a shop, toy hunts are a little bit of a thing of the past. We did one on the weekend. We don't have a lot of shops around us that we can go to, like vintage toy shops. There's very few. So, but doing those type of toy hunts, if we can get to one of those collecticons or an actual vintage shop, but also, can I say this type of thing, like talking to other people about their memories, just about toys.
You can say whatever you like.
Yeah, it's giving me a buzz, man. It's just like talking to other people, meeting other people, getting their thoughts on different toy lines, being introduced to new toy lines because I've watched a certain video and gone, that is a really fun toy line. I'm going to get a figure and see where that goes. So that in the last 12 months for me, that's been the buzz.
The buzz have been with other collectors now. I mean, we get together with excuse me, with another fellow called Scott Crusher, and we've got another YouTuber in Western Australia. He's come over, Ryan the Collector Kid, and we do a live series called The Collector's Pack. And even what's Dean's channel?
Totally Taylor, the Taylors.
The Taylors. And that buzz of getting together in a group and then getting into a collector's store, and that one last weekend, because the bloke had just had tubs and tubs of everything you can imagine, all the accessories. It'd have to be the accessory store. I mean, we were finding accessories that you'd never find anywhere, and he just had tubs of them, and you could spend a whole day just going through those little accessories, and we're shouting out, "Oh, this is to this one, this is to this one, this is to this one," and
where's he been all our lives?
and it was just awesome because you can bounce off each other now, and
You've got
because
to share it with, isn't it? Like, yeah, we've been doing it for 20 odd years, but now we've got, you know, Scott, Ryan, the Taylors, Dan and Monique. There's just, and, you know, then there's the guys online that you can share it with too. Like, you can't physically get together, but you can virtually get together and do that type of stuff. That's the buzz. Like, over that break, so many people have got back to me, like, and just told me how much, you know, the collector's pack has meant to them, and it's meant a lot. So you know, that keeps you going. That gives you that the drive to go, you know what, I'm going to come back and do more. It's meant a lot, so much.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right, gents, I've got one more question for you. This is the big one. All right, the big one.
The big one.
Is it a big one? Neighbours or home and away?
No.
Don't answer that question. I was joking. That is not a question. That is not the question. That was me taking the piss. I'm sorry. No, the question is, what does your collection mean to you?
Everything.
Or what do your collections mean to you?
Yes, it's a collection is a big part of us. It's I mean, we've got our family and things like that, but it's just something that at this stage I can't live without. You know, I do think about that. What happens if I lost it all? And even to my wife, I go, well, because I go to the shops all the time with my wife and things like that, and go around the shops all day. And I think if I didn't, because I mean, she's obviously looking for clothes or whatever, but I'm looking for toys, so modern toys and things like that, and it's such a big part. I go, well, if I didn't have the collecting, I wouldn't bother even going to the shops. You know, I'd be a different person. I'd suppose you'd be looking for some sort of other avenue. You know, going down the pub or whatever. You know, or look at watching TV sports or something like that. And I'm not, and Matt can agree, we're not that sort of person that, you know, goes down to the pub every night or anything like that. It's such a big part of our life, or my life. And so at this stage, I just could not give it up, even if I had to. You know, I just couldn't do it. What about you, Matt?
It's a massive part of my life now. Obviously, you got your family and your loved ones, but it was. I guess without it, I might not be here. I don't know. Without you, without the collection, I might not be here, man. So, yeah, it means the world to me. Yeah,
it's just, it's like even if one of us lost our collections, I think I'd be heartbroken,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's an extension of our friendship, and obviously, if one of us lost the collection, it'd be heartbreaking, but as we wouldn't lose our friendship. It's just both of us, we're sort of connected by it, and and we look at it as not two separate collections, but as one big collection, and because Matt collects a lot of lines that, well, I mean, I've got a little bit, but I don't collect. I haven't got a full collection of Masters of the Universe, which Matt does. And he's got a lot of carded vintage figures that I don't have and things like that. So he collects different stuff, and we sort of don't try to compete. Like, I wouldn't run off and go, oh, I got to buy a whole collection of vintage Masters of the Universe to compete with Matt, because then it wouldn't work. The friendship wouldn't work, you see. And I think, so that's how I look at it. I look at it as one big collection. And that's why I think the channel works so well, because we've got that diversity. With the two collections.
Yeah, it can bounce off each other a lot easier. Makes videoing a lot easier too, with bouncing off each other. But these collections are just they're amazing.
I mean, Matt,
and wandering around, isn't it? Like I could walk
into wrestling, so he's got like one time we started to do so because we do Instagram, and so we started to do funny photos, and Matt's got all these large scale sort of wrestling rings.
Yeah.
And I said, get some wrestlers out. And he just brought out these tubs and tubs of wrestlers. And it was just incredible, the amount of wrestlers he had.
Wow.
And I mean, I've got one wrestler, Sting, you know, that I use in photos where Sting beats everyone. You know, no matter what it is, dinosaurs, Robocop, you know. But what I'm saying is, yeah, there's that diversity there, you know, where we can go into each, because Matt lives up the coast and I live down the coast.
Yeah.
And so we can go into each other's collections areas, and, you know, and it's different, and we can do different things and different videos, and
Yeah.
The chill out zones, aren't they?
yeah. So
Always walk. You can walk around your collection, and if you're not feeling 100%, you can walk around and you'll find something in here just to brighten your day. Even if you just sit here and, you know, adjust a shelf or just a couple of toys on the shelf, you know, just go. It's just a bit of a relief. You can kind of forget about the world's woes a little bit when you get into your room. It's just this little bubble, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah,
for sure. Definitely.
Fantastic.
Guys, that has come to the end of the chat. That has been absolutely fantastic. I really, really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Where can people find you social media wise? Because what I'll do is after the video, I'll put the links to your social media platforms in the description below. So where can people find you? Well,
obviously on YouTube. Keep on collecting. We have a Keep on Collecting Toys, so it's at Keep on Collecting Toys on Instagram. That's the main one. Andrew does some side stuff on what's that? Collect Andrew B.
Collect Andrew B. Yeah.
Yeah.
On Instagram. Yeah.
Collect Andrew B. So that's it. They're only two platforms. We don't do Twitter or.
And we have our live streams to the collector's pack.
So we're going to start them up again on the 30th of January with our collector's pack.
Yeah,
but that'll be on YouTube, yeah.
Yes, that's on YouTube. Yeah. So, and that's fun.
That's us. Yeah.
Awesome.
Appreciate your time, Stu. Thank you.
Your media platforms in the description below. While I'm here, I just want to wish you a very happy birthday, Matt. Very happy birthday. So
Thank you very much.
Thank you both so much for joining me. Really appreciate you taking the time out to be part of the series. It does mean a lot, because if it wasn't for guys like yourself, then I wouldn't have a series. So I just want to thank you so much for that. It's absolutely awesome. So everybody,
can I just say thank you, Stu, for doing these type of things and introducing people like Andrew and I to other collectors. We really appreciate what you do too. Thank you.
No, that's not a problem. But like I say, I really, really enjoy it. And every guy, because I've not chatted to any female collectors yet. I just love chatting to people like yourselves and stuff like that. I find it so enlightening. It's great to hear different people's stories, and it's great to see different collections and how they're displayed and stuff like that. And for me, it's an inspiration, because I can see stuff in your background and I think, oh, Star Trek, I like a bit of Star Trek. I might start collecting that, or I like the way this is displayed and stuff like that. So fantastic. Once again, guys, it's been Matt and Andrew from Keep on Collecting. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for watching, and we shall see you in the next video. Take care for now. Stay safe.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
No problems. Take care now. Bye-bye.